In the 36 years since the Studio Ghibli was formed by director Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata with producer Toshio Suzuki, it has introduced the world to all manners of delightful and moving on-screen experiences. Cute balls of suit, determined teenage witches, and pinning high schoolers sit side by side in the company's filmography with war-torn tales, sitcom-style family antics, and more than one ecological-minded fable. And in the process, Studio Ghibli has achieved a significant feat. It has never made a bad movie. Including TV films and co-productions, it has 24 to its name to date in total. And every single one of them is worth feasting your eyes on. So, in today's video, we are listing all the Ghibli movies that are released till now and also one that is yet to be released in the chronological order. So without any further ado, let's start with our video. On the 23rd number, the movie name is Noshika of the Valley of the Wind. A millennium has passed since the catastrophic nuclear war named as the 7 Days of Fire, which destroyed nearly all life on Earth. Humanity now lives in a constant struggle against the treacherous jungle that has evolved in the response to destruction that has caused by humanity. Filled with poisonous spores and enormous insects, the jungle spreads rapidly across the earth and threatens to swallow the remnants of the human race. Away from the jungle exists a peaceful farming kingdom known as the Valley of the Wind, whose placement by the sea frees it from the spread of the jungle's deadly toxins. The valley's charismatic young princess, Noshika, finds her tranquil kingdom disturbed when an airship from the kingdom of Tolmekia crashes violently in the valley. After Noshika and the citizens of the valley finds a sinister prosthetic object in the wreckage, the valley is suddenly invaded by the Tolmekian military, who intends to revive a dangerous weapon from the 7 Days of Fire. Now Noshika must fight to stop the Tolmekians from plunging the earth into a catastrophe, which humanity could never survive, while also protecting the valley from the encroaching forces of the toxic jungle. On the 22nd number, the movie name is Castle in the Sky, which is from 1986. In the world filled with planes and airships, Shita is a young girl who has been kidnapped by the government agents who seek her mysterious crystal amulet. While trapped aboard an airship, she finds herself without hope. That is until the ship is raided by pirates. Taking advantage of the confusion, Shita manages to flee from her captors. Upon her escape, she meets Pazu, a boy who dreams of reaching the fabled flying castle Laputa. The two decide to embark on a journey together to discover this castle in the sky. However, they soon find the government agent back on the trail, as they too are trying to reach the Laputa for their own greedy purposes. Castle in the Sky follows the soaring adventures of Shita and Pazu, all while they learn how dreams and dire circumstances can bring two people closer together. On the 21st number, the movie name is Grave of the Fireflies, which is from 1988. As World War II reaches its conclusion in 1945, Japan faces widespread destruction in the form of American bombing, devastating city after city. Hotaru no Haka, also known as the Grave of the Fireflies, is the story of Seita and his sister Setsuko, two Japanese children whose lives are ravaged by the brutal war. They have lost their mother, their father, their home, and the prospect of a bright future, all tragic consequences of a war. Now, orphans and homeless, Seita and Setsuko have no choice but to drift across the countryside, beset by starvation and diseases. Met with the apathy of adults along the way, they find that desperate circumstances can turn even the kindest of people cruel. Yet their youthful hope shines bright in the face of the unrelenting hardship, preventing the siblings from swiftly succumbing to an inevitable fate. On the next number, the movie name is My Neighbor Totoro, which is from 1988. In 1950s Japan, Tatsuo Kasukabe relocates himself and his two daughters Satsuki and Mei to a countryside to be closer to their mother, who is hospitalized due to the long-term illness. As the girls grow acquainted with rural life, Mei encounters a small, bunny-like creature in the yard one day. Chasing it into the forest, she finds Totoro, a giant, mystical forest spirit whom she soon befriends. Before long, Satsuki too meets Totoro, and the two girls suddenly find their lives filled with magical adventures in nature and fantastical creatures of the woods. It captures the imagination of two girls with very different personalities. Satsuki, the older and the more responsible girl who takes care of the household responsibilities while her mother is sick. And the little Mei, who is a veritable firecracker whose curiosity knows no limit. What made this movie so incredible was how well it captures the imagination of kids their age. Just watching it makes you think back of all the fun things that you did when you were younger. Whether you are helping your parents with chores or outside picking a cross of the grass. You will get hit with all the nostalgia from your childhood while watching this movie. On the 19th number, the movie name is Kikis Delivery Service, which is from 1989. Kiki, a 13-year-old witch in training, must spend a year living on her own in the distant town in order to become a full-fledged witch. Leaving her family and friends, Kiki undertakes this tradition when she flies out into the open world atop her broomstick with her black cat Gigi. As she settles down in the coastal town of Koriko, Kiki struggles to adapt and end up wandering the streets with no place to stay, until she encounters Osono, who offers Kiki boarding in exchange for making deliveries for her in a small bakery. Before long, Kiki decides to open her own courier service by broomstick, beginning her journey to independence. In attempting to find her place among the townsfolk, Kiki brings with her exciting new experiences and comes to understand the true meaning of responsibility. On the 18th number, the movie name is Only Yesterday, which was released in 1991. Taiko Okajima is a 27-year-old independent woman who spends her entire life in Tokyo. Looking to unwind from the rush of the big city, she decides to visit her family in the country to help out during the harvest. On the train there, Taiko vividly recalls her memories as a schoolgirl in the initial stages of puberty, as if she is on a trip with her childhood self. A young farmer named as Toshio picks her up at the station, and they quickly develop a friendship. During her stay, Taiko forms strong bond with the family and friends, learning the contrast between urban and rural life, as well as the struggles and joy of farming. Nostalgic and bittersweet, Only Yesterday takes on Taiko's journey as an adult woman coming to terms with her childhood dreams compared to the person she is today. On the 17th number, the movie name is Porco Rosso, which was released in 1992. After a curse turned him into a pig, World War I ace Marco Pagod becomes Porco Rosso, a mysterious bounty hunter who takes down sky pirates in Adriatic Sea. He whiles away his days on a secluded island, rarely leaving other than to collect bounties or to visit the beautiful Gina, a songstress and the owner of the Hotel Adriano. One day, while traveling to fix his faulty engine, Porco Rosso is gunned down by a young American hotshot named as Donald Curtis. Thrilled at the possibility of fame, Donald boldly declares that the flying pig is dead. Not wanting to disappoint Gina, Porco Rosso flees to a famous Piccolo SPA airplane company and takes out a massive loan in order to repair and improve his fighter plane. There, he is surprised to find that the chief engineer of Piccolo SPA is the 17-year-old Fio Piccolo, who hungers for a chance to prove herself. With Fio's improvements, Porco Rosso prepares to challenge Donald officially and regain his honor. On the 16th number, the movie name is Ocean Waves, which was released in 1993. In the city of Kochi, high school student Taku Morisaki is going about his usual day and going to work, when his friend Yukata Matsuno calls and asks him to get to their school as soon as possible. Taku arrives over there and Matsuno introduces him to Rikata Muto, a beautiful girl from Tokyo who recently transferred to their school. Although Rikako is academically and athletically gifted, her general unpleasant attitude leaves her with virtues of no friend outside of Matsuno and another girl from her class. After a chance to encounter during their class trip, Taku suddenly finds himself more involved into Rikako's personal life, much to Matsuno's dismay. Struggling to balance his friendship with Matsuno and his own budding infatuation with Rikako, Taku must come to terms with his feelings and understand how a girl with a troubled past is having such a massive effect on his life. On the 15th number, the movie name is Pom Pom, which was released in 1994. With the increasing need for Tokyo to expand as one of the Japan's major cities, inevitable sacrifices must be made so that changes can take place. One of these sacrifices is that the room for nature and wildlife to flourish will decrease significantly over time. As this decline continues, many animal communities experience the brunt of urbanization. One such community, known as the Tanuki, a type of magical shape-shifting mammal, is caught up in the struggle to defend their beloved forests from being absorbed by the looming threats of an expanding Tokyo. As more and more Tanuki finds themselves with nowhere to hide, and territorial fights become increasingly regular among the different factions of the community, the elder Tanuki Oroku decides that something must be done, for the sake of their home as well as for the safety of their future generations. The Tanuki unites as one last hope that together they might be able to repel mankind's construction projects and scare them away from the forest using their shape-shifting abilities. But as they begin their first attempt at sabotage, the Tanuki soon realizes the operation will be no easy task. Will they reclaim their forest as a united community, or will they be torn apart by a war against humanity, blinded by anger and pain after witnessing nature's destruction? On the 14th number, the movie is Whisper of Heart, which was released in 1995. Shizuku Tsukishima is an energetic 14-year-old girl who enjoys reading and writing poetry in her free time. Glancing at the checkout cards of her books one evening, she notices that her library books are frequently checked out by a boy named as Seiichi Amasawa. Curiosity strikes Shizuku, and she decides to search for the boy who shares her love for literature. Meeting a peculiar cat on the train, Shizuku follows the animal and is eventually led to a quaint antique shop, where she learns about a cat statue known as the Baron. Taking an interest in the shop, she surprisingly finds Seiji, and the two quickly befriends one another. Shizuku learns while acquainting herself with Seiji that he has a dream that he would like to fulfill, causing her to dismay as she remains uncertain of her future and has yet to recognize her talents. However, as her relationship with Seiji grows, Shizuku becomes determined to work towards one particular goal. Guided by the Whisper of Heart and inspiration from the Baron, she resolves to carve out her potential and dreams. On the 13th number, the movie name is Princess Mononoke, which was released in 1997. When an Emishi village is attacked by fierce demon boar, the young princess Ashitaka puts his life at stake to defend his tribe. With its dying breath, the priest curses the prince's arm, granting him the demonic powers while gradually siphoning his life away. Instructed by the village elders to travel westward for a cure, Ashitaka arrives at Tatara, the Iron Town, where he finds himself embroiled in a fierce conflict. Lady Iboshi of Tatara, promoting constant deforestation, stands against Princess San and sacred spirits of the forest, who are furious at the destruction brought by the humans. As the opposite forces of nature and mankind begins to clash in a desperate struggle for survival, Ashitaka attempts to seek harmony between the two, all the while battling the latent demon inside of him. Princess Mononoke is a tale depicting the connection of technology and nature, while showing the path to harmony that could be achieved by mutual acceptance. On the 12th number, the movie name is My Neighbors The Yamadas, which was released in 1999. You watch first few minutes thinking that it's the credit, and you wait until you realize that this isn't the credit, it's the story. The unique style of animation throws you in for a loop, and it's not bad. Yes, it's simple, more like a moving comic strip than animation, but simple does not mean sloppy. Each line and curve of the drawing is thought out and perfectly placed, and the motion is smooth. You cannot help but like the characters, and the director perhaps explores the stereotypical sides too. The salaryman dad, slightly lazy stay-at-home wife, reluctant student son, cute as a button younger daughter, and grandmother with a sharp tongue. But that is exactly what makes it funny. The story is told in snippets, sometimes interrupted by metaphors or one of the characters' recollection of an event past, all wrapped up neatly by humor. Sometimes a great belly laugh and sometimes a gentle smile. The movie leaves you feeling good and somehow cuddled, perfect for family viewing, and I suspect that one appreciates this movie more as the time goes by. On the 11th number, the movie name is Spirited Away, which was released in 2001. Stubborn, spoiled and naive 10-year-old Chihiro Ogino is less than pleased when she and her parents discovers an abandoned amusement park on the way to their new house. Cautiously venturing inside, she realizes that there is more to this place than meets the eye, as strange things begins to happen once dusk falls. Ghostly apparitions and food that turns her parents into pigs are just the start. Chihiro has unwittingly crossed over into the spirit world. Now trapped, she must summon the courage to live and work among spirits. With the help of the enigmatic Haku and the cast of unique characters she meets along the way. Vivid and intriguing, Spirited Away tells the story of Chihiro's journey through an unfamiliar world as she strives to save her parents and return home. On the 10th number, the movie name is The Cat Returns from 2002. High school student Haru Yoshioka is bored with the monotony of life. One day, she saves Princess Lune of the Cat Kingdom from being run over by the truck. As a token of gratitude, the Cat King sends her presents and invites her to the Cat Kingdom to become Lune's wife. Haru's inability to properly communicate with the cats leads to the misunderstanding that she has accepted the proposal. As Haru ponders on her way to escape the predicament, the mysterious voice instructs her to search for the Cat Bureau. However, not long after she finally arrives in the bureau, a horde of cats swarms in and forcibly takes her to the Cat Kingdom, along with a member of the Cat Bureau. Concerned for their safety, owner of the Cat Bureau, Baron Humbert von Gigiken, follows close behind. The more Haru immerses herself in the activities of the Cat Kingdom, the more cat-like she becomes. To her dismay, she soon learns that unless she can find her true self, she may become a cat permanently. Haru's adventures in the world of cats leads her down to a path to self-discovery, allowing her to return as a more confident person. On the 9th number, the movie name is Howls Moving Castle from 2004. The jumbled pieces of architecture, the cacophony of hissing steam and creaking joints, with smoke billowing from it as it moves on its own, that castle is home to the magnificent wizard Howl. Infamous for both his magical prowess and for being a womanizer, or so the rumor goes in Sophie's Hatter's small town. Sophie, as a plain daughter of a hat maker, does not expect much from her future and is content with working hard in the shop. However, Sophie's simple life takes a turn for exciting when she is ensnared in a disturbing situation and the mysterious wizard appears to rescue her. Unfortunately, this encounter, brief as it may, spurs the vain and vengeful witch of the West in the fit of jealousy caused by a past discord with Owl, to put a curse on the maiden, turning her into an old woman. In an endeavor to return to normal, Sophie must accompany Owl and myriad of eccentric companions, ranging from a powerful fire demon to a hopping scarecrow in his living castle, on a dangerous adventure as the raging war tears their kingdom apart. On the 8th number, the movie name is Tales of the Earthsea from 2006. Calamities are plaguing the land of Earthsea and dragons have been seen fighting above the clouds, something which has never happened before. Sparrowhawk, a powerful archmage, sets out to uncover the mystery behind these concerning events and meets Prince Aren along the way. Aren is the fugitive heir of the kingdom of Enlad and a seemingly quiet and distressed lad. Wandering aimlessly in an attempt to escape the dark presence haunting him, he decides to tag along the Sparrowhawk on his journey. However, their trouble in the seaside settlement of Hot Town is met with unexpected trouble. Lord Cobb, a powerful evil wizard obsessed with eternal life, who stands in their way. Forced to confront him, the pair joins forces with Tenar, an old friend of Sparrowhawk, and Theru, the ill-fated orphan girl she took in. But the enemy's cunning hobby of manipulating emotions may just prove catastrophic for the young prince. Set in a magical world, Tales from the Earthsea goes beyond the classic battles between the forces of good and evil as it explores the inner battles of the heart. On the 7th number, the movie name is Ponyo, which is from 2008. A goldfish sneaks away from home and floats off on the bank of a jellyfish. After getting stuck in a glass jar, she drifts to the shore where she is freed by Sosuke, a 5-year-old boy who lives with his mother Lisa in a house by the sea while his father Koichi works on a fishing boat. After healing a cut on Sosuke's finger by licking it, the goldfish is named Ponyo by her new friend. Unknown to Sosuke, Ponyo already has a name and a family too. Her father Fujimoto is a sorceress who forsook humanity to live underwater, who also searches frantically for his daughter Brunhilde. When found and captured, Ponyo rejects her birth name and declares that she wants to become a human. Using the power received from Sosuke's blood, she grows arms and legs and escapes to the surface one more time. But the magic releases into the ocean causes the imbalance in nature, causing the moon to start falling out of orbit and the tides to grow dangerously stronger. Reunited with Ponyo, Sosuke must pass an ancient test to restore order in the world and let his companion live on as a human. On the 6th number, the movie is The Secret World of Ariati from 2010. While spending the summer at his aunt's house, the young but sickly Sho makes an amazing discovery. After following the house cat into the bushes, he gets a glimpses of miniature girl about the size of his finger, calling her kind borrowers as they survive on tiny bits of human possessions. The girl introduces herself as Ariati. As he discovers that she lives in a house basement with her parents Pod and Homily, Sho becomes imaginably excited at the idea of such unique neighbors. However, he fails to understand the adversities they face on a daily basis. In addition to keeping their existence hidden, they must also embark on perilous adventures into human territory from house to the outdoors in order to make a living. Despite her parents' warnings, Ariati befriends Sho, steering up unexpected events that may change their lives forever. Delighting the eye and conquering the heart, the breathtaking story of a friendship transcending the tension between two different humankinds begins. On the next number, the movie name is From Up on Poppy Hill from 2011. Atop a hill overlooking a seaside port sits a boarding house named as Court Manor. Since the building is run by her family, Yumi Matsuzaki carries out many of the duties involving in managing the small establishment, such as preparing meals for her fellow boarders. When she isn't at home, she is a student at local high school, one that is dealing with a small crisis. In anticipation of upcoming Olympic game, a beloved old clubhouse is set to demolish to make way for the modern building. As a result, a large part of the student body has banded together, working tirelessly to prevent this from happening. Yumi finds herself helping from the newspaper club to spread information about this cause, where she befriends Shu Kazama, whom she gradually begins to fall in love with. But Sho is an orphan who doesn't know much about his origins, and when the two begin searching for clues to their boy's past, they discover that they may have a lot more things in common than either of them could have thought. On the 4th number, the movie name is The Wind Rises from 2013. Although Jiro Horikoshi's nearsightedness prevents him from ever becoming a pilot, he leaves his hometown to study aeronautical engineering at Tokyo Imperial University for one simple purpose: to design and build planes just like his hero, Italian aircraft pioneer Giovanni Battista Caproni. His arrival in the capital coincides with the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923, during which he saves a maid serving the family of a young girl named as Naoko Satomi. This disastrous event marks the beginning of over 2 decades of social unrest and malice, leading to the Japan's eventual surrender in World War II. For Jiro, the years leading up to the production of his infamous Mitsubishi A6M0 fighting aircraft will test every fiber of his being. His many travels and life experiences only urge him onwards, even as he realizes both the role of his creations in the war and the harsh realities of his personal life. As time marches on, he must confront an impossible question: at what cost does he chase his beautiful dream? On the 3rd number, the movie name is The Tale of the Princess Kaguya from 2013. Deep in the countryside, a man named as Okina works as a bamboo cutter in the forest, chopping away at the hollow plants day after day. One day, he discovers a small baby inside a glowing shoot. He immediately takes her home and convinces that she is a princess sent to earth as a divine blessing from heaven. Okina and his wife Ona takes it upon themselves to raise this infant as their own, watching over her as she quickly grows into an energetic young girl. Given the name Kaguya, she fits right in with the village she has come to call home, going on adventures with the other children, enjoying what youth has to offer. But when Okina finds a large fortune of gold and treasure in the forest, Kaguya's life is completely changed. Believing this to be yet another gift from heaven, he takes it upon himself to turn his daughter into a real princess using the wealth he has obtained, relocating the family to a mansion in the capital. As she leaves her friends behind to enter into an unwanted life of royalty, Kaguya's origin and purpose slowly comes to light. On the second number, the movie name is When Marnie Was There, from 2014. Suffering from frequent asthma attacks, young Anna Sasaki is quiet, unsociable and isolated from her peers, causing her foster parents endless worry. Upon recommendation by a doctor, Anna is sent to the countryside in hope that the cleaner air and more relaxing lifestyle will improve her health and help her clear her mind. Engaging in her passion for sketching, Anna spends her summer days living with her aunt and uncle in a small town near the sea. One day, while wandering outside, Anna discovers an abandoned mansion known as the Marsh House. However, she soon finds out that the residence isn't as vacant as it appears to be, running into a mysterious girl named as Marnie. Marnie's bubbly demeanor slowly begins to draw Anna out of her shell as she returns night after night to meet with her new friend. But it seems there is more to this strange girl than meets the eye. When Marnie Was There tells a touching story of a young girl's journey through self-discovery and friendship, and the summer that she will remember for the rest of her life. On the first number, the movie name is Earwig and the Witch, which was released in 2020. With large windows adorning its spick and span halls, St. Morval's Home for Children serves as a warm refuge for displaced orphans. For 10-year-old Aya, she is perfectly content living without a normal family, especially since she has everyone at the orphanage wrapped around her finger. However, to her dismay, she is one day selected by a peculiar couple, Bella Yaga and Mandrake. Aya soon learns that she has in fact been adopted by a real witch who wanted her solely as an assistant and has not even considered being her foster mother. As if that was not enough, Aya is told that one rule she must obey all time: never disturb Mandrake. To win the hearts of this seemingly heartless witch and the grumpy Mandrake is no easy task. Now, unlike other children's, Aya accepts this challenge without hesitation. Now, you might think that this list got to its end now, but you are wrong. There's still one more movie that is yet to be released, and it is also said to be the final movie from Studio Ghibli. How Do You Live is an upcoming Japanese animated film directed by Hayao Miyazaki and animated by Studio Ghibli. It is inspired by the 1937 novel by Yoshino Genzaburo. It has been described as a big fantastical film by Miyazaki himself. Release date? Oh, you don't need to worry about that for now, because it is scheduled to release in 2026. And if you enjoyed this video, then check out my other YouTube videos over here and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I post regular anime content like top 10 listings, reviews and breakdowns on my YouTube channel. And that's it for today's video guys, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.